We say goodbye to an icon. A VP is finally unmasked. And here is my personal thoughts on SmackDown for this Friday. This is the NG Minute. And actually the first episode of NG Minute. I'm going to give you the highlights, the lowlights, and a complete rundown of all wrestling that has happened this week. So let's get started with Monday, with Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw went old school. Pretty much every single last legend that has ever been known has came out there. And actually, not only did they bring all the legends out there, they completely changed the show and made it completely retro. I have to say, I really did enjoy the show as well as the matches, even though a lot of people really considered it boring. But honestly, I really did like the match because it really did make you feel like it was actually a WrestleMania push. For example, the Rock versus John Cena segment was probably literally the most intense segment that I've ever encountered with the Rock versus John Cena. Even though a lot of people really had a lot of grief going on with the whole twice in a lifetime thing, you have to admit this is a better build than it was last year. Even though they panned it out a whole year, this is actually a better build to me because it has a lot more emotion to it, especially that segment. And then moving on from that segment to Triple H's segment, which was a typical Triple H segment, but he was calling out Brock Lesnar. So it's actually confirmed. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it be confirmed sometime later on next week at the beginning of Raw that it will be Brock Lesnar versus Triple H at WrestleMania, as well as The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania. Honestly, I really do feel like it's a better build for WrestleMania than it was last year, and I really think that was an overall solid show, and I highly enjoyed it, especially the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, my boy, made his debut back after a while. It was awesome. I loved it. Okay, moving on to Thursday. Thursday was TNA night, and let's just say that TNA Impact kind of got somewhat of a surprise, shall we say, even though we really weren't surprised at all. D'Lo Brown, the VP of the Aces and Eights. Did we know this? Yes. Did we care? No. Do we still care? No. Are they going to actually keep the faction going? No. Afraid not. So let's just say that even though that they had that reveal, and they possibly revealed every single last person in the Aces and Eights, even though the Aces and Eights is known for their anonymity. For some strange reason, they just thought in their own infinite wisdom that it made plenty of sense to reveal every single last member of the Aces and Eights except for one person. So my theory of the whole thing is that they're going to allow the Aces and Eights to continue a little bit longer, probably until maybe, I don't know, Slammiversary. And then that's where they're going to completely put it to an end, because there's only one person they have not revealed, and that is the leader. So that's the only thing that the Aces and Eights have going for them. That's the only thing, the only secret that no one knows about. Even though there's so many theories spitting out there for who it is, we really don't know. And that's the only thing they can go on. How is it going to be for Lockdown this Sunday? I really don't know. I really am not looking forward to Lockdown, but I'm still going to watch it anyway. You're going to hear my review probably sometime that night or maybe that Monday. But moving on to Friday, the last day of the wrestling week, we have to say that it is SmackDown week, and let's just say that SmackDown really did nothing for WrestleMania at all, but do recaps of nothing but Raw. And I have to say that not only did we see Fandango once on Raw, we saw him twice again on SmackDown, and once again he pulled a Damien Sandow and did not perform. Yeah. Like we really do care about that guy, especially he has the most pathetic gimmick that I've ever seen and heard in my entire life. But I can say that the matches were indeed solid, especially Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler. Even though day in, day out, I really do feel like that Money in the Bank briefcase belt is, that Money in the Bank briefcase is completely worthless. And then the fact that we have no idea when he's going to cash it in, and that he doesn't even tease it anymore. It's just to the point where we just don't really care. I don't really care, to be completely honest with you. And one thing I don't really care about is Jack Swagger. I don't care about Jack Swagger's new character. I don't care about Zeb Colton, whatever his name is, Colter, whatever. I don't care much about him because that gimmick is completely outdated, ridiculous, and honestly, it looks like he doesn't even believe in it, to be completely honest with you. And the fact is that even though he has his matches, he's supposed to be feuding with Alberto Del Rio, It just seemed like a feud that's completely pushed. It doesn't seem like that Jack Swagger actually has any emphasis at all or believes or whatever he's saying. He has absolutely no belief or cares about what Zeb Coltrane is saying. It seems like he's more uncomfortable about being his character than anything else. And honestly, it's supposed to be a really strong feud, a really cultural bound feud that's supposed to be fueling this entire thing towards WrestleMania. But it is so completely lethargic, lackluster, and boring to where you really don't even care. Not even that. Jack Swagger's not even getting into it. So is this something to really look forward to? A World Heavyweight Championship match with a mediocre feud? I don't know, but we just gotta see. We have a few more weeks until this whole thing starts heating up, and maybe it starts heating up a little bit more. But unfortunately, if it wasn't for Zeb, let's just say that Jack Swagger wouldn't have a leg to stand on, let alone anybody would pay any attention to him. But closing off this NG Minute is going to be prayers going out to the families of Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer has passed away this week, and he actually had a legendary. I mean, he was considered to be an icon, because if it wasn't for Paul Bearer, you would not know who The Undertaker was. If it wasn't for Paul Bearer, you would never know who Kane was. They would have never been the icons that they are today without Paul Bearer. And Paul Bearer did leave behind a legacy. Not to mention the fact that he not only got a shout out on WWE, he got a shout out on TNA. That's as much respect as that man has. And honestly, for all you that were Paul Bearer fans, please send prayers out to the families as well as those that knew him, because it's going to be a very tough time for them. Paul Bearer, we love you. Rest in peace. And honestly, you were wonderful, and you left behind a really, really great legend. And it's something that we are never going to forget, and you will always be loved. It's the Nature Girl 30 signing off of the NG Minute. Later, people.